Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the XP podcast. My name's Rob, and I'm joined by my co-host Adam. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing okay. It's been a wild week.
Yeah, yeah,
I won't I won't unpack it all for everyone, but if you know, you know. It's
yeah.
been a wild week.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it has also been a kind of a bit of a weird week. I've had absolute zero motivation to do things, but it's got to get done, so you got to do it,
Mm.
and so that's been super hard. But look, come on, guys, we're talking about games today, so let's be a little let's pick up the energy up, guys. Let's wiggle our shoulders out, stretch it out a bit. If you're in your car, just swerve over to the side, do some jumping jacks, and let's get right into the car and let's continue. Because this is the XP podcast, your bi-weekly casual podcast where we talk about all things video games and bring topics to the table to discuss for your amusement. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, topics, or corrections, you can let us know in the comments section of this YouTube video. Or if you're listening on the podcast service, you can tweet at us at Ambitious Casual or email us the old-fashioned way at xppodcast@ambitiouscasual.com. I have a different email on there from a different podcast by accident. I almost messed up right there. And then utilize the timestamps. Guys, those who are listening to the podcast on your podcast service of choice, utilize the description and then you can see the time codes and jump into the areas that you actually want to. This show, there's not going to be a lot of jumping around. I don't really have quick bits at all. Actually, we're just going to go right into the main topic of the show because it's a big one and it's a big deal. The Nintendo Direct happened on the 23rd of September. And in our group chat, some of y'all are noticing Austin's not here. He's been lost for a couple days, and so they're trying to find him. Don't know what happened to him, but I'm hoping they find him. But we've been kind of communicating within our group chat. He's actually not lost. We've been trying to communicate in our XP podcast group chat about, okay, the Direct is coming. There's some rumors that are happening. Adam owes me 100 push-ups. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happened.
I do.
And so,
Yeah.
without going into everything, Adam, I want to give you the ability to start first. What is the first thing that popped up that just one either blew your mind or like you were extremely excited that you actually got announced at the Direct?
Oh, let's see. Excited. First thing that popped out. I, honestly, the thing I'm maybe most excited is just that we have a release date for Triangle Strategy.
That is a very good point. That is a very good point.
Just because I'm super interested in that game and very excited to play it. So March, is not too far
No.
away. It's like what, 6 months now, so that's doable. I can wait 6 months. I don't think anyone's surprised that they just dropped Project off the front and were like, nope, Triangle Strategy, it's the name, it's fine.
We all knew.
I don't know. I don't know if I prefer Triangle Strategy or Octopath Traveler.
I don't think, honestly.
What's a better game title?
Like,
what's a better game title between those two?
Here's the thing. I remember when they first announced Octopath Traveler, and I forgot who or what reactions I was watching at the moment, but just the reaction of hearing that name, Project Octopath Traveler, and just the people who were reacting to it were just cracking up because of the fact, like, what is this name? And we assumed, look, this is just a placeholder. Nope, it actually is the name of the game. When I saw Project Triangle Strategy, I knew for a fact that's the name. And so I didn't expect them to actually change the name whatsoever, dude.
I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like a 90% certainty, like when they title it Project this, we're like 90% certain that this is going to be what it's called.
Yeah.
But it's like that 10% just in case like there's something we didn't think of and people lose their minds and it basically needs to be changed. They can just say, oh, it was never going to actually be called that. It's just a project title.
Right.
Some intern came up with it and they can just like soup it under a rug or something like that. Like I think of Rainbow Six Quarantine, right?
Oh,
that's because that's what it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be called that, yes.
Named.
Yes.
And then people were like, that's not a good name.
Well,
for obvious
honestly,
reasons.
I was like, yo, Rainbow Six Quarantine, that's a cool name at the beginning of 2020. But then mm, the pandemic happened and everyone was like, you know what? Not a good name anymore. So,
Yep.
which honestly, I would honestly be the kind of person if they're like, we're keeping the name, I'd be like, honestly, cool, go for it. I mean, 3 years from now, no one's gonna remember. Okay, for me, well,
Maybe.
Adam, do you have
Go
any?
ahead.
You have anything else you want to add in regards to Triangle Strategy? I'm excited for the game. I think what was interesting is the fact that they were really making a point that they were listening to player feedback and really
Hmm.
went into depth a bit on certain aspects of what they changed up. Don't know if that was necessarily things that people were screaming for that they wanted to get fixed, or that was like, oh, we were already planning on fixing that anyways. Um, but it is pretty cool that they were listening to player feedback. Is there anything else you want to add upon Triangle Strategy?
I think I would just maybe applaud them for doing this correctly. You see a lot of people that are, I guess, a lot of companies that put out betas for their game,
Yeah.
which implies that they are going to collect feedback and change the game, but then they announce that the game's gone gold
Right.
in the
Right.
middle of said beta, and it's like, okay, this really wasn't a beta. But I mean, they still label it as a demo, but they are very clear, like, asking for feedback afterwards and stuff like that. So, I mean, even if they were planning on doing it already, it's still like good optics
Yeah.
and good strategy from a business standpoint, probably. So, good situation either way for them is, either they are, kind of taking care of the fans and the players, or they're at least kind of marketing themselves well in this scenario. So,
Yeah. Totally. Before I actually say mine, I kind of I feel like I should have started the entire thing off this way, but I'll give my viewpoint and then I'll jump it onto you. With this direct in particular, I honestly was not expecting much. We joke around, we play around with each other. I'm always just very hypo. Like I just want manna from heaven every single time. Give me something cool every single time, and I am disappointed a lot of the time. But it's just I enjoy the hype of all that. And honestly, with when they announced the direct, and I love that Nintendo's like, hey, direct in about like 3 or 2 days. Like they're really quick about it.
mhm.
Um, I wasn't expecting much, especially the fact that for some reason in my mind I was like, okay, this summer was the big thing for them. Why are they gonna have another huge one in the not fall technically, but the end of summer? And I wasn't expecting much from this, and we got a lot from this. Adam, were you expecting anything big to be announced at this direct? We haven't gone through them, but there are a couple things on here that are they're pretty substantial. But did you expect anything like this stuff to get announced?
My motto is expect nothing.
Exactly. It sure
And
is.
that's for, well, for sure that's for like any Nintendo like direct or showcase or anything like that. But it's honestly, I think, a good um maybe mindset for the entire games release, marketing
Yeah, yeah,
cacophony of whatever gets thrown out there, because you know let the, I guess, the game speak for itself whenever it does come out. Like,
for sure.
you can expect nothing in terms of these showcases, but then still, like, really harp on the companies for the games that actually do get released and when they get released and stuff like that. So I say expect nothing, but you know in my mind, of course, I know that they're going to show games and they're going to
Right.
announce games. And there was definitely, I think the big one, maybe, I don't know if no one was thinking about it, but the big one that caught me maybe more by surprise, of course, was Kirby, the new Kirby game, Kirby in the Forgotten Land.
Dude, let's roll right into it,
Um,
man. That was going to be the one that I
yeah.
chose. That blew my mind. It was there was something that got leaked at the beginning of the day, which I hate
Hmm.
leaks because the fact that it already puts that thought in your mind already just doesn't make it that big of a deal when you see it. And
Hmm.
I remember I saw that, automatically linked it to you guys on Slack, and then I was like, "Yo!" And then Adam being very, you keep your expectations down just in case so you're not disappointed. But I was like, open world Kirby game. Even me saying that, I was like, that's kind of strange. And I know that, and this is not true. Obviously, I was joking around when I said this to
Hmm.
Adam, but I know that Pierre Schneider from IGN, who's been in the industry for a very long time, he's always said when you start getting Kirby games, that's the end of the console generation. Like Kirby is that last thing in the back of their pocket to squeeze out the last of the lemon juice from whatever they have for that console. And so when I saw
Mm-hmm.
that Kirby the Forgotten Land was announced, I was like, an open world Kirby game? That seems like Kirby's always held back, kind of close to the end, and to hit with a big Kirby game like that, I was like, well, this is kind of coming out of nowhere. Hence the reason why I kind of was a little skeptical and like, I'm not sure this is gonna happen. But it's happening, dude. And just by looking at the
Mm-hmm.
the small amount of gameplay that we saw, I'm so stoked, man. I'm I'm a Kirby fan. I love Kirby. The games that I've been out in regards to Kirby, I love playing them, and the fact that open world Kirby game looks pretty dope. I got a lot of Mario Odyssey vibes from this, but Kirby form. What did you think of the gameplay, and what did about what we saw in regards to Kirby and the Forgotten Land?
Um, I think I'm excited for it. Maybe there's some hesitations. Usually, at least my experience with Kirby games have been like they're kind of more like small child
Right,
video
right,
games.
right.
Like they're more geared in difficulty and complexity
Correct,
for young children,
correct.
which I mean, that's great. Like if that's what Kirby is, that can be a really good thing. It just means that I don't necessarily get excited for the games,
Correct.
but I'm hoping that with this game, because of how they're seemingly trying to evolve the gameplay, do the more 3D open world action uh exploration type of stuff, that I'm hoping that means that it will be actually fun for all ages, more like Mario Odyssey, which I know a lot of people are making comparisons between how this game looked to how Mario Odyssey looks,
Yes.
and theorizing that, hey, is this the same game engine? Like, what else is going on here? Um, and so overall, I'm excited. I think it looks good. I do get a little concerned with how they're going to translate typical Kirby moveset to 3D,
Right. Yeah.
just in terms of like targeting, I guess, enemies and stuff like that. Obviously, 2D is a lot more forgiving in that standpoint. Um, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. Like, I'm super excited. Maybe to dip into some other Kirby news from this, I'm actually really excited that the N64 Kirby game is going to come to the N64 online
Yeah.
whenever at some point in the future.
Yeah.
It's not one of the launch titles, but it is one that they promise in the direct to bring.
Yeah.
And I would actually even say that,
Kirby's Dream Land, right?
people always talk about,
I believe that's what
I
it
want to
is.
say it's Crystal,
I'll
Crystal
look it up.
Kingdom, Crystal Shards, something like that. Um, I don't remember the name. I just remember
The
that
Crystal
that's the one
Shards.
where you can combine powers,
Yes.
which
Dope
was,
game.
I played it at like a friend's house, and it's so dope. I will also remind people in terms of the argument that Kirby games come at the end of the life cycle, in that this is the third Kirby game that the Switch has gotten.
Yeah.
So
Very good point. Very good point.
are are we at the end yet, or is it just the like third fake end, and there's still a
Exactly.
fourth Kirby game?
It is
Well,
only the
technically a
beginning.
fourth Kirby game through N64 Online,
It,
and then
it could be signaling the end of the base Nintendo Switch and the arrival of the Nintendo Switch Pro, Adam. You never know.
yeah, I mean, by the end of all this, I think you're going to have like 7 playable Kirby games on your Switch, because you have like the 3 that got native Switch releases. I know you have, and then the one from the N64, and then I know there's multiple between the SNES and NES Online collections too.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of Kirby.
Yeah, there is. And I'm like I said, I'm extremely excited for Kirby's Forgotten Land. I loved Epic Yarn. I played that game religiously with my siblings when I was
Hmm.
younger. Like we played that game over and over and over again. I love that game. And so the Forgotten Land looks cool. I love the fact that people were making jokes. It looks like Kirby and The Last of Us. Like there's
Hmm.
a mood aspect to it that just is a very not fitting with Kirby. But something that I won't say is that I noticed some, and again, these are just small gameplay moments that we're noticing. But there was moments where like you see Kirby and he's running up the like yeah, 2 escalators and Kirby's running up the middle of them. Uh, when I saw that moment of animation, it Kirby was really straight when he was walking up that little escalator thing. So it didn't seem like I sound like I'm getting so technical, but like if it was like a true open world game, I feel like he would be moving just a little bit left and right because you're just trying to balance on that area. But he looked like he was going straight. So I don't know if it's like not everything is going to be open world. Like you're going to have to stay within a certain confines, a certain
Hmm.
limits. Like, oh, you go up the escalator. You don't go up on like one side of the stairs or one side of the stairs. You just go up that one line and then it just pushes you up and then you get to the next area. Or there was a moment where Kirby was flying away from like this munching alligator and Kirby was flying, but you can tell that Kirby was hitting this invisible upper roof area that he couldn't go much higher. And I know that with games like Mario Odyssey, man, Mario Odyssey was in regards to like depth and height. Like you can go high in that game. And necessarily it wasn't necessarily the fact that you had unlimited reach up, but there was puzzles that had to do with it going up. And there's moments where I felt like majority of the levels, if I was able to hack the game, I can just be Mario and just go start going all the way up as high as I want to. I feel like with this one, again, this is Kirby. Kirby's a bit more simpler than any other than a lot of the other Nintendo games. It could be that there is a lot of more limitations in regards to the open world than we might see. But again, that's not gonna throw me off from ever wanting to try it out either. Because again, I like Kirby, so I'm down.
Yeah. And honestly, now that we're talking about it, it reminded me that I'm not entirely sure that this game is, I guess what you would say, like free camera.
Mm, fixed
Like
camera.
even though you're moving in a 3D space, it's like either like fixed or directed.
Mm,
So like the game is like moving it for you.
very good point.
I mean, it's definitely going to be more like it's the camera angle is going to change more than it does in like Animal Crossing, right?
You're right.
Which is 100%
Yeah,
fixed.
yeah.
Um, and then yeah, to your point, like it we're not going to get Breath of the Wild level game physics,
Not yet.
or anything like that. They're going to like put in some guardrails
Oh yeah. Oh
um
yeah.
significantly opposed to like, Breath of the Wild where people are like figuring out how to break the game physics to just infinitely fly and
Right,
all
right,
this crazy stuff. And I don't know. It's crazy what
Going
they do.
on, the fact that you talked about Animal Crossing, they did announce, and it was kind of weird because I tweeted out the day that this direct was happening. Nintendo is announcing directs within their directs, and they did that 2 times. The last Smash Bros. Character will be announced later this month with Miyamoto. No, uh,
Sakurai.
Sakurai, thank you. With Sakurai doing the final announcement, there's actually been some rumors already starting to leak that it's probably someone from Kingdom Hearts. We don't know. And then they also announced another direct that Animal Crossing will also have another direct coming out very, very soon. I think this month as well, at the end of the month. So, if those who enjoy those games look forward to that. Am I wrong?
I think it's October for Animal Crossing and like early October for the direct, and
Okay.
then like a bunch of the features are coming out in November.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Other than that, let me see real quick. Something else that I think that was pretty dope that we saw was oh my god, is actually the more that I'm looking at it, there was nothing else. Um because
What?
because
What?
I'm
There wasn't anything
no,
else?
there is, but I'm trying to keep that last. I want to make sure we jump into that last. Adam, is there anything? Oh, actually, you know what? I do want to have this discussion. Are you a Splatoon fan?
No. I
Okay.
mean, I've never played.
No, okay. I played Splatoon. I got Splatoon 2 the moment it came out because honestly, there was no other games at the moment when the Switch came out. Splatoon 3 just it's really weird to me, and like I don't know why I should be. I'm not mad about it, but I don't know why I should even be disappointed of it. We get a Call of Duty every single year, and do they change anything with the gameplay? It's practically the same from one installment to the other installment. They just probably add a couple extra quirks here in regards to the time period that you're playing in or whatever. We're getting a Splatoon 3 2 or 3 years after the release of Splatoon 2. And I'm like, well, actually, hold on, hold on. Let me look at that Splatoon
Think that's like 4 years at least,
because
right?
it came
It's
out on
next
Wii.
year that's coming out.
Did it come out on Wii U first?
I
No,
don't think so,
no.
but it was a launch year title.
2017.
It was, yeah.
Okay, so 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, 4 years. And I think this is actually coming out not even this year. I think it's coming out and
20. So 5 years.
Wow. Well, look at me.
It's already been
It's already
will
been
already
5
have
years.
been 5
I'm
years.
gonna retract everything I literally just said. Splatoon 3, man, I'm extremely excited. I can't wait
Do
to play
do you
this
need
game.
a moment? Do you need me to take something else real quick? You need to recover?
No, you know what? Skip Splatoon 3. I don't even care about it. What do you want? What do you want to jump into?
Well, I'm like curious what the thing you're leaving for last is, because there's like 5 other things I could probably talk about on here.
I want to leave the Switch Online stuff for last.
Okay, Switch Online stuff for last. Do you want me to do like a? I could do like a quick hits.
Let's go for
Just
it, man.
throw out the other. I
Let's
mean,
go
because
for it.
there was a lot of great stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to skip over Metroid Dread because there's just been so much coverage
so
of it
much.
already.
I'm already sold.
So we don't need that. The fact that Bayonetta 3, that we got kind of news of that again. People have
Yeah.
been like thinking that, does this enter the realm of vaporware? You know, is this
Yeah,
like
yeah.
actually not going to come out anymore? So getting the confirmation that it's, looking for next year. I don't think this is like a bait and switch like the God of War Ragnarok original release
Yeah.
date was, where it's like
Yeah.
everyone knows that that's not real. I think this is a real date. And so there's a lot to be excited for that. Monster Hunter fans should be really excited about the DLC for Monster Hunter Rise. So Sunbreak, I think they literally called it a massive expansion, which likely, I think they did confirm it. It will be paid DLC, but it should be. I mean, it looked cool. I've never played a Monster Hunter game, but the trailer looked cool. I'm like, it should be fun.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. It makes me sad because the first Monster Hunter game that I actually jumped into was the one that was on the PS4, and I don't know why I'm
Mhm.
already forgetting what it was called.
World?
Yes, Monster Hunter World. I
Yeah.
I loved that game. I didn't get too far into it because I was kind of saving it whenever I played with my brothers, and then whenever we played together, it was just some of the best fun I had in a long time. And you can tell that that game sold a lot. Like when you go back and look at the sales that Monster Hunter World did, it was I think it was the top selling game for Capcom ever at the moment. And so
hmm
they obviously struck fire with that one, or struck gold with that one. And the fact that they came back to Nintendo, it seems like, and I'm hoping that they're doing this back and forth, like Monster Hunter on main console and then Monster Hunter on Nintendo console. And so I'm seeing all this cool stuff for Rise, and it's not the fact that I don't want to play on my Switch. It's just the fact that I want to play Monster Hunter in such higher fidelity in these big grand battles on a upgraded console, you know. And so I've been holding off so much, and then they showed off Sunbreak, and I'm like, dude, I'm missing out so much on such a cool game. But again, and we'll talk about that when we get to what we've been playing. There's too much stuff to play right now, so I unfortunately had to skip it. But I will say, the more we keep seeing about Monster Hunter, the more excited I get for Monster Hunter World 2. So any listeners or watchers out there, let me know if you're excited for that. That's it. That's my spiel.
Cool. Nice spiel. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and actually, I guess there's a couple. Castlevania Advance Collection.
Oh yeah.
That's something I think that leaked a while. I think it did leak earlier, but people have been theorizing that it would come just because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, they released all the like original Castlevania games. It makes sense for them to do this collection as well. And this one's actually probably the first one I'm excited to play. I
Okay.
never played any Castlevania games, but I did play Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite. But I also want to say that that one, it was meant to be more like the NES ones.
Okay.
And with this collection, we're dipping more into the style of games I have nostalgia for once we hit the Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
Which, because I played a decent amount of those, and I've gone back and played some old GBA games like this year, last year.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to give this a try because I love the whole genre that the 2D Metroid and the Castlevania games have inspired. And I know there are people that consider, Aria of Sorrow as the best
Yeah.
of the series.
Yeah.
And so just being able to like really dip into that for, and the other games after it too. Like I'm actually really excited about that one.
Yeah. Totally. And I haven't played much of the Castlevania games, and as a matter of fact, I've been wanting to jump into them. I know that the advanced games are really, really good. I mean, I know. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to tell you this, dude, but I'm still sorry that I'm holding on to your Game Boy games that you lend me because
No,
I'm
you're
still
good.
not getting that analog pocket. But that's the
Yeah, you
thing
haven't
that I'm
gotten it yet.
so excited for that analog pocket to come in, so that way I can play these old timey games. And I constantly go to my nearby video store that sells used Game Boy games and that kind of stuff, just to see whatever they're rotating through their collection, so that we can buy them and just start scooping them up. But yeah, I mean, I'm when it comes to any of these Game Boy games, even if Nintendo was like, "Oh, Game Boy games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online," I would still be like, I'm holding off because look, I got that analog pocket for a reason, and I kind of want to play it in its truest
Hmm.
form. So I am excited for something like that. I really want to play it and see it on a nice screen, but I gotta hold out. I gotta hold out and just play on just the way it was originally intended to, I guess.
Okay, how much do those games go for in the used market?
I mean, the ones I've been seeing have been going around for $15 to $25, and so
Okay.
I haven't I'm not trying to mess around with like eBay and stuff yet, uh, but I might start dipping into that realm very soon because there's certain games
You
I'm
need to
not
be
finding.
hitting garage sales. That's what you need to be doing.
Dude, open up that one Converse box and they're like, "Oh, that's $5," and be like, thank you, $125 worth of games in here, thank you." Yeah, I probably should start doing that, to
Yeah.
be quite honest.
Yeah.
There was one
Seriously.
game. There's one game I do want to interrupt you with, and I think you're gonna go to an X, and I think it's the IO Dragon Boars. Is that the card game?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I dude that game. It struck me, man. It's being made by Square Enix.
Mhm.
I know that Yoki Taro, the guy who's done for Near Replicant, Near Automata, like his artwork, he's known for that kind of style of games. Those who are listening and watching, so he's not making it like this game. His artwork, his like I guess vision is being utilized for this. His name is on it, and then somebody else is also making it as well. Forgot their name, but it is like this card game that is in an RPG style fashion, and you play it, and it's coming to the PlayStation. I know that it was announced after the direct that it's coming to PlayStation as well, which probably where I would like to play. But I mean, it is a card game.
Mhm.
I feel like that fits way more better on a Switch. So I might end up playing it
Yeah.
on a Switch more so. But just the style of it. Square Enix, I love Square Enix. I love Final Fantasy. I love like their magical, their artwork. Like I love all that. And in a card form, sign me up, dude. I'm sold. So the what's it called? Voices of Gods, the IO Dragon Boars. I'm so down for that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this game, and I kind of glazed over when the trailer was going on, not because I'm not interested in it, I just don't know why I did in the moment, so I would be interested to see what's it about.
For some reason in my mind when I saw that I was like, that's an Adam game. That's what I thought.
I I honestly haven't played a ton of the, I guess, deck builder games or
Okay.
a bunch of the card
Yeah.
games,
Yeah.
and I don't know why I haven't. I probably would enjoy some of them at least. I think most of them because they also sell themselves as roguelites in a lot of ways.
Okay. Okay.
Obviously most famous one is, oh shoot.
Binding of Isaac.
Um no, that's a deck builder.
Rogue
It's a
Legacy.
roguelike deck builder.
Dead Cells.
No, deck builders.
Let me.
There's no cards in Dead Cells.
There's not. Let me
What?
start looking. Let me start looking.
Yeah, you're going to bail me out on this one
Deck
for sure.
builder.
Uh, it's
Rogue.
everywhere. You can play it on mobile too. But I stayed away from most of them because of the roguelite nature of them. But since I've kind of maybe had better luck with the last few of that genre that I've played, I maybe should probably give it
Monster
a
Train.
fair shot. And no, it's the
Hand of
one
Fate.
that before. No, keep going.
Oh man. Top
Oh
10
gosh,
best
man.
recent deck builder games.
It's not super recent.
For
It
the
did come
Warp,
out on
Signs of
Switch.
Sojourner, Retropolis, Banners of Ruin, Kyver, One Step from Eden, Hadean Tactics, Grifflands, Slay the Spire.
Yes. Oh
That
my
one's it?
gosh,
Okay.
thank you. Slay the
There
Spire.
we go.
Yep. There are a lot of people who just, rave about that game. And it's funny, I've played like Magic the Gathering and Dominion and stuff like that. So I'm not, I guess, adverse to deck building games. I actually really enjoy them. I just usually play maybe physical versions of those types of things. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Is
But
there anything else that was announced before we get into the online stuff that caught your eye?
yes, there's one thing that we
Yes.
just have to laugh about. We just
Oh,
have to
let me
laugh
hear it. Let
about
me
it.
hear it, dude. Let me hear it.
Someone messed up. Someone messed up, and I don't know if it was Nintendo PR. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if, I guess, Disney technically has the rights over it. I don't know if they just totally screwed Nintendo over with some bogus like marketing contracts.
Okay.
But why in the world would you just announce the Knights of the Old Republic port of the original game to Switch when, I don't know, 1 week, 2 weeks ago, we got the announcement of a full blown remake
Yeah.
for, for PlayStation? And it's like, and it looked so
It
bad.
looked
It
bad,
looked
dude.
so bad. Like
It was horrible.
someone really messed up.
I'm glad you actually brought that up because I know that you mentioned that in the Slack about the confusing nature of that. And when you said that, and me taking away and trying to think about it, the only reason why I could think about this, and there could be a number of reasons. One, the ownership of the original game, them having the ability to license out and start selling that in other places is completely separate from the license that PlayStation has to remake it. That's possible. The only other thing that I can also think about is the fact that maybe this Aspire remake of the Knights of the Old Republic is not that. I feel like it has to be far away. It has to be maybe 3 to 4 years away for them to be like, hey, let's resell this on the PlayStation Store. You know, like I mean on the Nintendo Store. This is almost like saying, because I know there's rumors of The Last of Us being remastered. It's literally like saying, announcing, hey, The Last of Us is being remastered for the PlayStation 5, and then a month later, uh PlayStation be like, hey, you can buy The Last of Us remastered, the one that came out on the PS4 Pro. You can buy that on sale on the PlayStation Store, and you're double marketing two games that are completely fighting with each other to an extent, you know. So I feel like the only reason why they would one sell this game to or have this game on marketplace for Nintendo is the fact that either licensing for Nintendo is completely different and being held by other people, or two, Knights of the Old Republic remake is really far away, like maybe 4 or 5 years away. So that's what I'm theorizing. Would you agree, or do you have some other ideas as to why they did that?
I this is why I really think someone messed up. I really think that someone didn't, think through the PR implications of all this, cuz and maybe they're just trying something new, right? It's kind of been typical that a port or like well, especially ports, like a port of a game gets announced and then people are like, "Oh, this means we're getting a sequel."
Yeah, yeah,
Right? So maybe it makes sense from the angle of, let's announce the remake first and then we'll talk about the port afterwards, so people aren't thinking, "Oh, we're getting uh KOTOR 3," right?
yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say they never came out with a 3. It was supposedly canceled. As far as I can tell. So maybe it's to, I don't know, deal with that, but then it's almost like, why are you porting it at all? Because if the game's super far away, why port it right now?
Very
Why
true.
not wait till
Very
closer?
true.
Right. So we got the teaser of the remake. Maybe the next time they have an update, it's like, this is some of the where we're at so far. While you're waiting, if you want to dip your toes in the original, now it's ported. And it's so funny because the port is coming to, I think, every platform. It's not just limited to Switch, like it's coming to
Correct.
PlayStation stuff too. So I don't know. It really looks bad on Switch.
Yeah,
That's who it looks bad on.
yeah.
It like no one's, I think, uh clowning on I think Disney or whoever else for it. It's like it just is a stark reminder that, oh yeah, Switch isn't getting the new remake and this looks bad.
Oh yeah, for
Oh
sure.
man.
And I will say
So
my final thought is the fact that I'm just the kind of person that I know that a remake is coming along. Why am I gonna buy this one on the Switch? Like, I can wait. There's so many other games to play. Uh, that's just how I work. I'm pretty sure Nintendo and their numbers and analytics that they have, they're probably like, oh, let's resell this game here on the Switch platform. We'll make some good money off of it, and then we'll get them again when the remake comes out. Like people will do that, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. I know there's probably some diehards for different games and maybe it's stuff in general that'd be like, oh, you should play the original so that you can better understand and appreciate the remake,
Yeah,
especially with remakes where like lots of stuff changes. Um, I hear that argument about Final Fantasy VII the most is probably what it is, but I'll admit I'm not going back to play the original Final Fantasy VII.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't play it when it came out, and I mean, come on,
No,
PS1 polygons. If you don't have the nostalgia for that game, it just looks bad.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if I dip my toe in with Final Fantasy VII, it's just going to be with the remake.
Totally
I
agree.
already have it because of PlayStation Plus,
Totally,
so
totally.
just sitting there.
And to get into the last half of the Nintendo Direct, we got something big. So we got the Nintendo Switch Online. I think as of now, about 4 to 5 years into the Switch's life cycle, which is really weird to say because time is just flying by. I think the Nintendo Switch Online deserves the price point that it has because the games that you get on that, yes, there you can claim and say that there are some games on there that are like, what is this baseball game? But other than that, you have some great games from the NES and SNES, like some true great classic games that in technicality you don't have to pay for again, ever again. You technically just have to pay the monthly fee or the yearly fee just to keep playing them. So either or, Nintendo's still getting your money. But there's been this thing that I've been holding on for so long. I loved when they came out with the mini NES, the mini SNES. I have both of them. I don't play them all that much. It's kind of like this weird preservation thing in my mind that I want to keep them pristine as much as possible until I have kids because I want to play on those old systems with my kids. And so I just love that they made those things. And I've been waiting for them to make a mini N64 or a it can be mini, but some sort of GBA, Game Boy Advance, or whatever. And so the thoughts and the idea of them actually bringing in anything else past the SNES onto the online service just kind of seemed like it's not going to happen because it's just been so long. But wait no longer because we just got announced on the Direct that not only is the Nintendo 64 coming to the online service, but so is the Sega Genesis. And so it's obviously a certain select games that are coming to the service, but I do want to read them out so that way we kind of have an idea as to what they are on the Nintendo 64 lineup that we're going to get right from the start. We're going to get Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Sin and Punishment, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis 64, Win Back, and Yoshi's Story. And then on the Sega Genesis, we got Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Musha, Fantasy Star 4, Rystar, Shiny Force, Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master, and Strider. And then not to go even further than that, we're gonna get some games trickling out, continuing on the N64. Don't know if this is the only list. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm hoping that they do a little bit more past this, but so far they've announced that these games are going to be coming after the established initial release of the other games. We're going to get Banjo Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F Zero X. Adam, I popped off when this happened, man. I was so stoked. And I think what's even cooler above all this, and I know people, it is a dumb controller. It is extremely dumb controller, but there's nostalgia that plays into it that they're going to release the controllers along with this. If you have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, you can buy them off of their online store. And I'm buying two. I'm going to get one for me and Vanessa so that way we can play Mario Kart 64. Like This is awesome, dude. Well, I want to know what are your thoughts on this announcement.
I think the announcement is great. I looked at the list of games and I realized that I was probably more excited about this list of titles than I was for NES or SNES
Mm,
Online.
okay.
So, because I think these games more than the other ones, I guess maybe not, but several of these are kind of locked to the system, and that's been true of like the SNES,
Yeah.
and the NES. But I think those games were easier to pick up in other places, especially if you had or if you have Nintendo 3DS, because a lot of those you can still buy the SNES and the NES games through the virtual console there. So like Link to the Past, I think I played Link to the Past on my DS and I didn't even play it on through the SNES, but
Oh, okay.
and so like when I thought of the SNES, I'm like the main ones I wanted to play were Link to the Past, then Super Metroid,
Okay.
and Super Mario World.
Okay.
And those were like the main three. I was like, these are the ones I want to play out of this. But then when I look at this list, I'm like, Star Fox 64. I didn't pick up the DS version, so I'd probably play here. Um, let's see what else. Yoshi Story, I would go back and play. Banjo Kazooie, I would for sure go back and play. Kirby's Crystal Shards. Already talked about that. I would play Paper Mario. I'd go back and play that one,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd probably at least try F Zero X just one time
Oh
because
yeah,
I've
dude.
never played an F Zero game, and honestly, I would probably play Mario Golf too with
Let's
other
go.
people.
Let's
I would
go.
actually probably play that one. Do some multiplayer with that one. So I thought that was really exciting. The fact that they scored Sega Genesis too, that kind of blew my mind, and I
It's
thought that
weird.
was really cool that they did that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to make that happen, but cool get for sure for them. And then honestly, I could care less about the N64 controllers. I've never liked them. I didn't have an N64, so I mean I played on a friend's quite a bit growing up, but those thumbsticks, man, are just what's going on with those
A little
thumbsticks?
whack. A little whack.
They're a
I
little
will
whack.
say that as well as the N64 controllers, you can also get a controller for the Sega Genesis, and obviously I'm pretty sure these are have to be Bluetooth ran, which just makes it even cooler. So that way you can just sit back, relax, play these games.
Mhm.
I'm really stoked. I love Mario Kart 64. That as a kid was the Mario Kart that I grew up with, and I have so much like memories with that, playing with my brothers. And it will I go ahead and buy four Nintendo 64 controllers? Maybe. I can start with two, but maybe I'll get four so I can play with my rest of my siblings. Star Fox
Mhm.
64, I've not played it, but I'm so interested in going back and playing it. Super Mario 64, I gotta jump back in, man. I gotta try that out. I want to play that game again. It's been a very, very long time. I've heard a lot of amazing things about Sin and Punishment. Not amazing. I've heard good things about Sin and Punishment, and I mean they keep making games, Sin and Punishment games to this day. So I want to go back and try out the original one, see how that is. I agree with everything that you said about Kirby. I'm gonna play Kirby. The Legend of Zelda games. I have not finished Ocarina of Time, and I haven't touched Majora's Mask. So that's going to be an awesome, awesome time to jump in and actually play those games. And I will
See,
say,
I
go for it. Go for it. What's up?
I don't know why anyone, I guess not everyone has a DS, but obviously the Nintendo like 3DS
Yeah.
still remains the best way to play those games. I think
Because they're the
maybe there's
HD
some
versions,
people
right?
who yeah, because they're the HD versions,
Yeah.
and these are definitely still ports of the like original ports of the N64 version. So they that there's quality of life improvements that are missing. There's textures that are missing. I think there are some hardcore players who defend the original versions over the ports, especially maybe on the Majora's Mask side of things. But
That's weird.
I don't know. I don't know what those things are. I'm just gonna play them on my DS. I've already played Ocarina of Time on my DS, and I have Majora's Mask in my backlog to play there as well.
Adam, I just had a bad thought cross my mind. This is the Legend of Zelda anniversary. The fact that they're having Ocarina of Time on the online
Mhm.
service and Majora's Mask is coming soon. That doesn't mean that the HD versions are being ported to the Switch, you don't think, right? They wouldn't do that. Nintendo's not like that. They want to try to squeeze as much money out of you as possible.
Um, maybe they are, just because maybe they still want to do the N60. Here, let me back up. I don't think that they are, but they could still do it. They could have wanted to do the N64 online, and it would have been way too big of a red flag to announce it without either of those
A dead
games.
giveaway.
And so they've just ported the original versions over for now, and they'll leave them in there for. And like I said, I think there are people who actually prefer those compared to the HD remakes for DS. But I mean, they could still come in later and do the ports of the HD
Man, that
ones
would be
separately.
that would be a little sad. That would be a little sad.
Well, think about it. They did the Mario Super Mario 3D All Stars, which has Mario 64 in it, and now it's also in the online service.
Wow, dude, that's a backstab, man. I didn't put that together. They literally made you buy it because you thought to yourself, I'm never going to play N64 games on my Switch. And then literally 6 months later, they're like, hey, it's coming to the online service. Wow. I never put that together.
I mean, yeah.
You heard it here first,
stupid.
folks. You heard it here first.
It's stupid. I'm not mad personally, because I mostly got that game to see maybe Super Mario 64, give it a try, but mostly to play through Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't too upset. I'm not too upset about it, but I'm also like, look, they've already done it within like the last calendar year in terms of, I guess releasing a game twice for the same system, just one through their online collection and one through a separate collection still.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does Nintendo Switch Online, are you able to play multiplayer over like online? Like there's some, so like you and me could play against each other on, let's say, the OG Mario Golf that's on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can do that.
Dude, we got to try out Mario Kart 64 when it comes out, dude. We got to do it.
Yeah, well, I would be more interested, like I mentioned, probably in doing Mario Golf.
Oh, very good. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Mario Golf for sure. Yeah.
Because I never played Mario Kart 64. Maybe we would do a match. I never played Mario Kart 64, and I was a Double Dash kid. And then obviously, 8 Deluxe is kind of like the penultimate, I guess the ultimate Mario Kart game. So it's like,
very true.
Why would you go back to that, especially when probably some of the best 64 levels are on 8 Deluxe already?
Nostalgia, Adam. That's why you would go back. Nostalgia. Anything on the Genesis side that grabs your attention? Because I mean, look, the only thing I'm excited about is Sonic. I'm a huge Sonic guy, so I'm gonna play Sonic 2. Castlevania Bloodlines, I'm gonna check that out. Other than that, maybe Contra, because I like Contra. Maybe Shinobi, just because I know of Shinobi. But other than that, nothing else grabs my attention.
I would maybe check out Streets of Rage 2. Just as like a fun, especially if we did online, right?
Yeah.
So just a nice kind of fun, like chat while you play a beat 'em up type experience. But I feel like I've heard so much, maybe not I've heard so much of it, but I have heard Golden Axe name dropped so many times.
Okay.
That I think I need to see what it actually is.
Okay. I have not heard of it. Well, I guess we'll try. I guess we'll find out. When the Nintendo 64 online package expansion pack, sorry, that's what they're calling it, is announced later in October, because we still don't know the price. We still don't know exactly when it's going to get released, sometime in October, but that's coming very, very soon. Adam, do you have any last words you want to say in regards to the Direct?
Have we not talked right now yet about it being a different price tier to get the N64 and Sega?
As a matter of fact, we haven't.
This stuff.
Guys, if you have the Nintendo Switch Online, I'm sorry, you're not going to just get this right into the rest of it. You gotta pay Mr. Nintendo just a little bit more money so you can get this expansion pack. That's what they're calling it. So I don't know yet. Like as of right now, I pay for the family plan. And I think that's $35 a year. You're gonna have to pay an additional amount on top of that. I'm just gonna guess right now. I think maybe $10 more. There's no way they're gonna do another 15, $20, dude. If they do that, that's insane. That's insane.
Maybe. I mean, if you think about it, they obviously think Mario 64 on its own is worth $20.
God.
So
Don't do me like that, Nintendo. Don't do me like that. All I gotta say is this is an interesting move for them. And I think, and this is my last thing to have to say about this direct. Keep an eye on this. Those who are listening and watching. Keep an eye on this tactic of adding more games to your online service because I get a feeling we might see something similar from PlayStation. I think Nintendo and PlayStation have been both playing the same way because they both are kind of in the same spot. They're undefeated. They're riding in their own lane. Nothing's bothering them. And they're kind of both being a little stingy with their money on both sides because they can. And that's what's working for them. I get a feeling we might see because there's rumors of PlayStation has they have their Game Pass that they're working on. Like they have their solution to Game Pass that they're working on at this moment. Could it be PlayStation Plus but added $10 more and then you can get other games? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Adam, anything else you want to add to the direct?
no, I think we covered it all.
Perfect. Moving on to this last portion, Adam. We're at the end. I mean, we're 50 minutes in. So take as much time as you want. I'm going to let you go first. What have you been playing, Adam? What have you been playing?
All right. Glad we can talk about I feel like it's been forever.
It has been a long time since we talked about what we've been playing.
Since we've talked. Let me do a couple quick hits.
Let's go.
Not going to go too much in detail. I did beat Skyward Sword.
Let's go.
This past week.
Okay,
so
nice.
Finally got to experience the conclusion to that game, which I hadn't before, and I feel like it does end very, very well. So that was very exciting. I've picked back up on Metroid Samus Returns. I had started it on my 2DS a while back, and then I've picked back up and kind of been playing it here and there, and actually been just really enjoying it. It's kind of not simple. It's a Metroid, so there's a lot of like map exploration stuff going on, but it's been very enjoyable because the way that game works with like hunting down individual Metroids, and there's a lot of them, it's easy to break it up into multiple play sessions.
Right.
So that's been good.
To my understanding, is Samus Returns kind of like Metroid 1 remake? Is that what it is?
I believe it's Metroid 2 remake.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, I was about to say we're going to display our like I don't know, lack of knowledge about Metroid. Because isn't Zero Mission the remake of 1?
Oh, you're right. Thank you. You're correct.
Okay, cool. I don't know. That's a hot.
I love Metroid
GBA cartridge right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I love Metroid, but my knowledge is not really like I don't know all about it. So.
Yep. So I've been enjoying that one quite a bit. And then I guess the games I'll talk more about are both PlayStation games. So I've been playing Spider-Man. I've been playing the 2018 Insomniac
Your first time
game.
playing it, right?
Yeah, it's my first time playing it. It's such a great game.
Yes.
Very, very smooth. I really enjoy the story to it. You know, it doesn't fall into like maybe it does. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. It is a very great video game story in the fact that it's a lot of relational stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And you know, like people can relate to, right? Especially a bunch of the stuff with Peter and MJ. It's all very cool to watch unfold. And then just like the fact that we kind of came into a Spider-Man who's already been doing the job for, I don't know, a decade at least or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's like mature in the fact that like he knows his job and you're not having to go through like the learning your powers type thing.
Right.
And so that was another thing that was really cool, I think, about like God of War 2018, and the fact that's coming to like the character in the middle of their story, and you're kind of having to think back of what happened before, and it's like piecing it together as you go, and seeing the relationships develop and stuff like that. So that's all very good. I actually kind of enjoy the quick time events more than I thought I was going
Okay,
to,
cool, cool.
just because like I feel like that's such a PlayStation 2 mechanic.
Oh yeah, oh
And
yeah.
but they do it quite a bit, but it's done in a way that's very, it makes a lot of sense to me, especially like the quick time events where you have to like quickly aim over somewhere else. And it's like, it really does keep you a little bit more on your toes and a little bit more involved.
Yeah.
And then allows those very cool cinematic moments that you can't just like accomplish otherwise. So that's been good. I think I'm in the middle of Act Two.
Okay.
So I'll definitely have a lot more to say about it, I think, down the road. But I did want to also talk a lot about Kana
Let's
Bridge of
go. Let's
Spirits,
go.
which I've been playing.
A new
So
PlayStation
this
5 game.
is new PlayStation 5 game. I think it's also on the Epic Game Store for
Oh,
PlayStation players. So it's from a studio called Ember Labs. This, I believe, is the first video game they've
it
made. I think
is.
most of their background is in animation. So it's a very Pixar, DreamWorks kind of style, and it looks gorgeous, especially on the PlayStation 5, especially after they patched out some weirdness with the cutscenes. Like day one, there was some weird, maybe frame rate or something was the problem, issues, and they
Okay.
they patched it out like within the first day or two, which
Okay.
so that really fixed a lot of problems. But it is a fantastic game for especially someone who hasn't like made a game before, and it's just so solid in its own. You'll see, maybe if you listen to other podcasts or read other reviews, a lot of people saying that it's like a PlayStation 2 game, and just the, I don't know if I would say scope or just the how it feels to play it.
Yeah.
It's definitely modern in terms of graphics and everything on that level, but there's just a something about the gameplay loop which is very PS2, and it like takes me back to a bunch of my favorite games from that era, or games I played, whether it was like Jack and Daxter, or I even think of Tak and the Power of Juju, which I've mentioned before as like invoking the same spirit of that game in terms of being kind of like very nature mystic focused, spirit power
Yeah.
focused type stuff.
Yeah.
And so it really has learned a lot from other modern games, but there's just something about it that will invoke nostalgia for people who played a lot of PlayStation 2,
Okay.
or I guess even GameCube's that same era too, and but just like in the terms of like the 3D action, not quite open world, but the 3D action platformer games, kind of like the ones I mentioned. It definitely invokes a lot of the same, I don't know, gameplay moments,
Hmm.
but it learns a lot about like navigating the world from something like, I don't know, Uncharted or Jedi Fallen Order. There's a lot of moments from it that remind me of like Ghost of Tsushima,
Okay. Wow.
and there's even a lot of things that makes me think of like God of War 2018. So there's like a lot of really great elements from modern games, great animation, and it's just a lot of fun to play.
Nice. Nice.
Do you have, yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of good stuff about it. The screenshots you've been seeing, sending me some screenshots from the game, and you you could tell we're in a different place with PlayStation 5 and just newer hardware, even the
Hmm.
Xbox Series X. The fidelity that you can get from these games is unbelievable, and it's not necessarily always just fidelity for fidelity's sake, but it is the quality of the artwork and the style that is being put into
Hmm.
these games that stands out a lot. And Kana has that. And you send me some screenshots because do they have a proper photo mode?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so by seeing some of these screenshots, I'm like, man, this looks clean. Like it looks really really good. And I've also, like you said, I've heard a lot of people say that it is like a PlayStation 2 game in a good way. And I think it's just in the
Hmm.
sense of like just the way it flows and the way you play it out, it just feels very PlayStation 2. Not bad. But what I've also been hearing from a lot of people is the fact that, one, the fact that this is Ember Lab's first game, Everyone is so excited to be like, okay, this is what they could do on their first one. I can't wait to see what they do with the next one because that they've now that they've got the the structure down. Let's see when they're able to just start putting some more into it, and maybe the second one can be a proper open world game or who knows what. But I've been hearing a lot of great things about Kana for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't feel like a studio who's just made their first game, in my opinion. There's a lot of things. Of course, there are some things that you can critique and kind of nitpick at that are like, "Hey, this is our first game" type stuff. Very similar to when I played Blue Fire kind of
Oh,
stuff.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Like, you know, because in my mind, it's like that's a new studio too. They made their first game, but and that game is phenomenal. I'm not saying this to slight that game because that game I love for what it is and it's really good. But what they've managed to do with Kana, and I wonder how much of this has to do with being in, I don't know, in what's the phrase? But they're they're talking with PlayStation, they're partnering with
yeah,
PlayStation. They probably got a lot of help from that network
for sure.
in terms of being a like a I guess you'd consider a
It's-
second party game
exactly, second
or a
party
timed
exclusive.
exclusive. Is it timed
I think
or
it's
is it
exclusive.
second party?
It's second party
Okay.
exclusive.
Okay, cool. And they probably learned a lot from those other developers and got a chance to talk to some really like good game developers while they're making it and it shows. Whoever designed their combat encounters is deserves, I don't know, a big bonus. They deserve like a promotion or right. I don't know. There's something about the design of the combat encounters, despite it being like what you would think, oh, this is like small studio, first game, like this stuff is probably going to like end up getting pretty repetitive. But the combat encounters are all so fresh and unique. And even though the skill tree isn't like super deep, there is a skill tree, and it's
Mm,
like provides enough variety and play style and that I don't know what to tell you. It's like these combat encounters to me are great, really good.
nice.
They make you have to think about doing different things, and they really make you consider the environment quite a bit. There was like one combat encounter. I guess I'll get into it. I don't think it's too spoilery, but there was one combat encounter where it was like split between 3 raised platforms, and so it was very easy to fall off, and there's kind of like a grapple shot type ability
Okay.
that you have to use to get back to the platforms, and then I kept getting knocked off the platforms by these like, AoE, um, like attacks, and then just like instinctively one of the times I got knocked off, I kind of went into like your aim mode, like with your bow, which also doubles as like how you grapple.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, because it slows down when you're in the air and you're aiming. I'm like, I can keep myself from falling off because I can grapple to the other thing now. And I hadn't thought of it yet. And it was just like so to me, it was like so cleverly designed and it made me feel so smart for figuring it out, and I'm just like, these kind of rewarding moments and like combat and the way they keep it like varied is like that's like top notch
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so like they deserve a lot of praise in my opinion for that. Um and amongst the other things I've already kind of like raved about.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm really excited for that game. I mean, like we said, it is kind of like one of the only other exclusives that PlayStation has, I think, for the rest of the year. Other that's it. It was technically like Deathloop and Kana, right?
Solar Ash is
Thank you.
PlayStation
Thank
exclusive.
you. Solar Ash as
It
well.
might be timed, but it is
Yeah.
at least launch
Yeah.
exclusive.
So I mean, I'm hoping Ember Labs is kind of playing in the space of the people who made Returnal. I hope they're playing in that space of like
Housemark.
Housemark. Thank you. I hope Ember Labs is like Housemark, where PlayStation is like, let's help you out. Let's see what you can do. If you do well, then maybe acquisitions are going to be in talks and bring you on. Because I'm not trying to say anything about Media Molecule, but I don't know what they're doing. They've been so invested with Dreams, and I felt like Media Molecule was the artsy fartsy studio for PlayStation. They could be working on something. We do know that they made like 2 games for Dreams inside of Dreams, so they are probably busy doing something else. I feel like someone like Amber Labs for PlayStation is a awesome get because I don't know if we're gonna dig into Ratchet and Clank much longer. Just because now that Insomniac is busy with Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, Insomniac is a beast in and of themselves. So to have another studio work on something that's I don't mean kid friendly, like it's a kid game, but kid friendly in the sense of like it just gives off that aesthetic, I think is perfect. Especially the fact that Sumo Digital, I think they just got acquired by Embracer Group. So they're no longer making Sackboy's Great Adventure anymore. So I'm hoping that something is working out in that regards for PlayStation and that they sweep them up because I feel like that'd be an awesome get for PlayStation and their studios as a whole. So,
Yeah.
Adam, do you have anything else you want to add in regards to what you've been playing?
Um, no, I think that's it.
Cool, cool. Last thing I do want to add for you is the fact that it is interesting that you're going to be playing this game with the new Spider-Man face. I played it when it was the original guy before they switched his face
Oh,
out. So
yeah.
it's going to be hard for me because in Miles Morales you don't really see his face all too much. Um, and so when the next game Spider-Man 2 comes out, it's going to throw me off just a little bit because I'm not used to that new face. So either or. Going into what
Yeah.
I've been playing, and I'm just going to get through this real fast. I've been playing some Destiny 2 on the Xbox Series X. As a matter of fact, Adam, you've also been playing Destiny 2 here or there. We're back into it. We've talked about this a couple episodes ago. We're back in it. This has been like kind of my multiplayer game that I've been playing on the side. Haven't been playing much Warzone. Haven't been playing much Rocket League or anything else. Destiny's been my game. So as of right now, I am going through the DLC to just get through the stories. And then from there on, I just got to get into the grind and then get ready for the DLC, which is the Witch Queen, which comes out in December. So I'm just setting up, getting ready for that, jumping in whenever I am. But the main game that I want to talk about is a little game by an indie studio called Kojima Productions by Hideo Kojima. Death Stranding's director's cut. I haven't been buying much games recently. Just been kind of playing with what I have, and I thought, look, the upgrade to the director's cut is just $10 for me. I bought the game, and you get the digital edition and the director's cut for $10. Easy win, easy win. So I just snatched it up, popped it back in, and I was convinced by Digital Foundry, which I gotta say this, guys. When we live in a world where there's a lot of video game outlets, go do your homework and go look at all the different outlets if you want to. But what I will say is you're gonna learn and get to a point where you're like, okay, I side a lot with these people, so I'm just gonna go to them majority of the time. That's great. What I do gotta say is every single time that a game comes out, I would always recommend go to Digital Foundry because their reviews are very different compared to everybody else. They really go into the back end, the resolution, the way the game plays, the stability of the game, the frame rates. Like they get into the nitty gritty of the games. And the review on Death Stranding really convinced me to get back into the game. And then Hideo Kojima himself was like, hey, with these new upgrades, I would recommend that you kind of start a new story all over again. And I honestly was maybe 3/4 of the way into the game, and then I stopped and I convinced myself, let me start all over again. I'm not the kind of person that likes starting games all over again because it just turns me off from ever playing the game. My brother deleted my profile to Metal Gear Solid 4 2 times in a row, and I've never gone back to play Metal Gear Solid 4 because it just really ruined it. I didn't want to go through the entire intro all over again and play the first 4 hours all over again. That's just how I am. So
Yeah.
popped in the game, and the resolutions on this, you got some options. You got performance and you got quality. Obviously, performance is in focusing on frame rate, and then quality is in focusing on resolution. But it doesn't stop there. They even added a widescreen mode that allows you to. It adds black bars, a cinematic mode, and it adds black bars to the top and the bottom of the screen, but allows you to have a wider view of what you're playing. And on top of that, the resolution is crisper, and you get like they don't even know. Even Digital Foundry was like, we don't even know how they did this. But when you play on performance mode, it is literally running at 60 frames per second the entire time. Nothing hitches. When you play in quality mode, you notice that you actually are running on a steady 60 frames per second. It is usually on certain cinematics that they said that you see a dip, And then when a huge boss battle happens and then a lot of things are going on, it'll dip within like the 50s. But weirdly, when you play in the cinematic mode on quality, you are sitting at a steady 60. And so they don't know how exactly they just messed with it in certain kind of ways, but it worked. I tried out the cinematic mode. I didn't enjoy it just because I felt like I couldn't like yes, you get a wider view, but it's not really filling up your entire screen. The black bars kind of take away some bit of it, and I just want to see that game completely sprawled out on my TV. So I went back.
Mm.
I went on quality mode because I was like, look, 60 frames per second for majority of the time, except for cutscenes and maybe a boss battle here or there that dips to the 50 range. I can deal with that. And man, I gotta say, dude, jumping in from the very beginning, I this game is awesome, man. I I want to recommend it to everybody, but I know for a fact it is not a game for everybody. It is a very niche game.
Mhm.
It is very weird and very off-putting to play nowadays. When Kojima finished the game and he was talking about what he wants to work on next, he legit jokingly was like, "I want to stop predicting the future. I want to just make a game and just make a game." And Kojima's always been known for. You go back to Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 2, uh he's talking about false narratives in in the news. He's talking about corruption. He's talking about memes. He's talking about all these different kinds of things from in America. And this is Hideo Kojima from Japan. Like, and that's Metal Gear Solid 2. That game, when you played it back in 2001, you were like, "What? I don't understand this." Playing that game now or looking at stuff from it now is the most off-putting thing ever because you're like, "How did he get it right?" Death Stranding came out
Mm.
in the fall or the winter of 2019,
Mhm.
and we're in 2021. A pandemic has happened, and Death Stranding is all about an invisible illness that has gone over the entire earth. Everybody is quarantined underground, and the only people who are out and about are delivery people that are giving items to different peoples within the cities of America, called the UCA. It's the most off-putting thing, dude, because you hear them talking, and Norman Reedus is like the quarantine, this and this and that, and the illness, and if you die, everybody has the illness. So the big thing about the game is if you die, then you can cause this crater that happens that just is this negative effect that's going on with the world, and it's a story, dude. So with all that being said, the game is beautiful. I it's weird because this is a PlayStation 4 game. Seeing this game on PlayStation 5, I played Demon Souls, I played Returnal, I played Miles Morales. This game looks way more beautiful than any of those games. And
Mm.
it's the fact that the game is not like any other game. It's a lot of people like to joke around and say it's a walking simulator. You can make that argument. I would argue and say that's not what it is. It's a very different kind of game, but you are Norman Reedus traveling, trying to deliver these packages to certain areas. And the fact that they were able to focus so much on not only him, because it's weird, the fact that they put so much detail into the characters, the way that they look in the cinematics, I was like, that is Norman Reedus right there, like on screen. And it's funny because even Digital Foundry pointed out the only time that you see it like a dip in quality, even in performance mode, is when you go up to the mirror, because there's a moment where you can go underneath your bunker, you
Mm.
look at yourself in the mirror, and it's the game having to load it double time, and the quality
Yeah.
that you're seeing, like you could tell that Kojima was like push as much resolution on him to make him look as good as possible, because they did. And the cinematics look great. The terrain just looks absolutely amazing. And so just playing this game, it is so good. And I think, to me, and I know a lot of people were like Metal Gear Solid 5 is Kojima's magnum opus. I would have to disagree with that just because Kojima wasn't able to finish it. He had to cut it off soon, so the game is kind of unfinished to an extent. I would have to say Death Stranding is his magnum opus, because his ability to this is his cinematography pushed to the max, and his love for music pushed to the max. Like, I'm not spoiling anything, but there are moments where Kojima loves music and cinematography, and he melds them together so well that there's a moment where you're walking and you know when it's going to happen. You start walking and you have to go to a destination, and the camera is like any other normal third person camera, not super close to you, but you got a good depth of view behind Norman Reedus. There's moments when you're getting to this big landscape. The camera starts zooming slowly, really far out, and then the music starts playing. And he's picked some of the best indie music to start playing. Like Low Roar is like one of the main artists that's on the soundtrack for this game, and it starts playing, and you're just walking, just through the grass, going through and it might start raining a little bit, and you're just walking. It is the best mood ever, ever. And the fact that I've already played this game 3/4 of the way, there is a moment, and I'm not going to say much, but there is a certain moment that you're walking in a certain area. And again, Hideo Kojima does that same thing again. But that, like, I remember playing that on the PS4 Pro, mind you, back in 2019, and literally looking at my wife, and like a tear was literally coming down my face. I was like, he captures these moments so well. And so that's all I'm going to say. Death Stranding Director's Cut, Hideo Kojima, loving it. I'm going to beat this game. I playing it all over again. I'm kind of enjoying it even more by going over some of these areas again. And
Sure.
I'm really excited to see where the game goes past wherever I got up to. But I'm so excited. I love this game. And I've already dipped into a little bit of what they added, which was like a firing range. And just by playing that firing range, because that was not there before in the original, I was getting Metal Gear Solid VR missions vibes. Like I was like, this is Hideo Kojima. We're back, baby. We're back. We're into this. So that's all I gotta say. Death Stranding. If you have not played it, go play it. And if you don't have a PlayStation, it's on PC. So go check it out. Go check it out. It is an awesome, awesome game. All right.
Question.
And I got an answer.
So you're telling me that even though you hadn't even finished Act 1 of Ghosts of Tsushima,
Yeah,
you restarted Death Stranding 75% of the way in
absolutely.
and are probably going to play it all the way through?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Good
But
to clarify that point.
But to be quite honest with you, it was literally between Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima, which one I was going to jump into first. So
Okay.
Hideo Kojima had to come first. And then once I'm done with that game, Ghost of Tsushima is legit the next story mode game that I'm actually going to next, because there just hasn't been much going. Nice. We got our Jin over there. After Ghost of Tsushima, after Death Stranding, I'm going straight into Tsushima. I want to beat it. I want to get through it. And then after that, I'm not quite sure what else is coming out for the rest of the year that actually intrigues me. I'm not really interested all too much
You'll
lately.
pick up Kana.
Yeah, Kana. I haven't even played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart yet. We have Deathloop that literally came out that I want to play really, really badly because I love Arcane. So there's a lot of stuff happening very, very soon. So, well, guys, thanks for listening. This is the XP Podcast, your bi-weekly casual video game podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, those who are listening on podcast services, please rate the podcast on whatever service that you are listening on. That way, people, when they search up video game podcasts, we kind of bump up a little bit higher, up to the top. So give us 5 stars, please. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified whenever we come out with any more content. And talking about content, I just came out with the new movie podcast called Press Play, where me and my friend Michael review movies. We just came out with the first episode. It is on why am I blanking on
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi? Thank you. It is on Shang-Chi. And as a matter of fact, the next one that we'll be doing is going to be on Venom Let There Be Carnage. I don't know what to expect from this movie. I'll be seeing it tomorrow. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Peace out.
See ya.